far beyond, the universe expanded. Yet her darkness grew with it, endless and patient. For every new light born, there would always be a shadow to cradle it. The balance she had woven in the first dawn still held, thread by invisible thread. And in that quiet vastness, she whispered one final truth, not to gods, not to mortals, but to the cosmos itself. There is no end, only rest. The stars dimmed in reverence. The silent sea of the heavens shimmered, waves of light and dark folding into one another. And as the eternal night spread its wings once more, all creation breathed as one. Asleep, at peace, held forever in the embrace of Nyx. The goddess closed her eyes. Around her, time dissolved into dream. The night was not the absence of light. It was the promise of return. And so she rested, watching over all things that dream. The night came softly, not with thunder, not with storm, but as a sigh, a breath over the edge of the world. Before her there was only light, endless, blinding, unbroken. But the light was lonely, and from that loneliness, Nyx was born. The first shadow, the mother of stars, the goddess of silence. She rose from the folds of the void, her hair flowing like ink across a pale horizon. Her eyes shimmered not with light, but with the memory of it, soft, ancient, compassionate. Every step she took upon the nothingness gave birth to a dream. The gods who had lived in light turned their faces from her at first, frightened by her quietness. They did not understand that darkness was not absence. It was rest. It was the space in which thoughts could breathe. Nyx looked upon them and smiled, a gentle, secret smile. She whispered into the fabric of the heavens, "Do not fear what sleeps." From her breath, the first twilight unfurled. Not black, not gold, but something in between. The light softened. The world learned to blink. And in that blink, the first dream began. When Nyx spread her wings across the heavens, stars spilled like drops of silver from her feathers. Each one a soul, a spark of thought, a heartbeat captured in eternity. She watched them shimmer and said, "You will be the eyes of night. You will watch when others sleep." The stars obeyed. They blinked softly in rhythm with her pulse, each one a guardian of stillness. Then came Hypnos, her child, the god of sleep. He was born in silence, cradled by the hum of the cosmos. Nyx sang to him, a song that no ear could hear but every soul could feel. It was the sound of falling asleep, the gentle surrender, the trust between heartbeats. "Sleep is not death," she told him. "It is the promise that life will return." And when her voice faded, the world exhaled, and for the first time everything rested. But not all were content. The gods of day looked upon her realm and grew uneasy. "What if the dark swallows the light?" they asked. "What if nothing wakes again?" Nyx heard their fears but did not answer. She only drew the night closer around herself, wrapping the world in velvet silence. Her darkness was not a weapon, it was a bomb. But those who feared rest could never understand that. When the first mortals were born, they too feared her. At dusk, they lit fires to chase her away. Yet as the flames danced, Nyx watched them kindly, whispering, "I do not come to take. I come to give you back your peace." And little by little they began to dream. They saw their dead loved ones, their forgotten memories, their futures unfolding in sleep, and they understood. Night was mercy. Dreams were her gift. In her domain, the air was slow, and the sound of time softened. Nyx would walk through the sky, trailing her hand along the constellations. Her shadow brushed the edges of the moon, and it trembled like a pearl beneath water. She would pause at the edge of the cosmos, look back upon her creation, and whisper, "Rest, my children. The day will return, but for now be still." From the stillness of her domain, Nyx gave birth not through pain, but through thought. Her children were not of flesh or fire, but of essence, ideas that took form beneath her shadowed wings. They were the reflections of the human heart, the quiet truths that light refused to see. First came Hypnos, the gentle one. He carried the gift of rest, soft as a sigh, tender as the hush before dawn. His hair flowed like black silk, his eyelids heavy with the weight of peace. When he walked, dreams bloomed in his footsteps. Nyx looked upon him with pride and whispered, "You will teach them mercy in stillness." Then came Thanatos, twin to Hypnos, the god of peaceful death. His touch was cool, his eyes endless. But he did not bring fear, he brought release. Where Hypnos let mortals wander through dreams, Thanatos let them fall into silence. They were brothers, one for the night, one for the end, and Nyx loved them both equally, for in their balance life found meaning. After them came Erebus, her consort, the darkness within darkness, the endless echo that completes her form. Together, they wove the space between stars, shaping the unseen paths of existence. Through their union, the void itself began to hum, the music of silence that all creation rests upon. From that harmony came many more. Nemesis, the spirit of balance and justice. Momos, the voice of truth and criticism. Phylides, the whisper of love, and Eris, the spirit of discord. Not evil, but the spark that stirs change. Each was a fragment of Nyx's infinite self, born to maintain the rhythm between peace and motion. She watched them scatter across the heavens, each one carrying her breath within them. Her realm became alive, a night not of emptiness, but of purpose. And when she looked upon the cosmos, it glowed not with light, but with meaning. One night, as the stars shimmered more brightly than ever, Hypnos returned to his mother's side. "They fear me," he said softly, "mortals and gods alike. They call me the twin of death." Nyx smiled, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "Then they have not yet learned that to rest is to trust. Fear not, my son. One day, they will understand that your gift keeps them whole." She reached out, brushing his hair with a touch softer than wind. Around them, the constellations pulsed in gentle rhythm. "Do not seek praise," she said. "Peace does not shout." Thanatos stood nearby, listening in silence. "And me, mother? They curse my name even as they pray for release." "You are the truth they refuse to speak," she answered. "Without you, fear would be eternal. You give life its edge. You make every heartbeat precious." The twins bowed their heads. They understood, though it brought them no comfort. Still, in their mother's eyes, they found calm, and calm was enough. As the eons passed, Nyx's children continued their silent duties. Nemesis walked among the proud, restoring balance where arrogance grew. Eris stirred hearts to motion, that the world would not sink into apathy. Phylides soothed wounds unseen, and Hypnos drifted between the mortal and divine, his wings carrying dreams from one realm to the next. And Nyx, she watched unseen yet ever present. Her shadow moved beneath every starlight. Her whispers carried through every breath of night. The gods of day forgot her name, but every soul that closed its eyes remembered her touch. In her solitude, she smiled. "My children are the heartbeat of darkness," she murmured. "They are the proof that even shadow serves the light." And as the world slept, her voice drifted through the silence, soft and eternal. "Rest, for I am near." In the deep silence between stars, Nyx shaped another realm, one that even the gods dared not enter without her permission. It was not a world of stone or flame, but of thought and memory. Here, time did not walk, it drifted. The air shimmered with silver mist, carrying whispers of all that ever was and all that might be. It was the realm of dreams, home to her beloved child, Hypnos. Through this realm flowed a river made not of water, but of light, soft, rippling, endless. Mortals would cross it every night without knowing, their souls carried on the current as their bodies slept. The river's name was Lethe, and those who drifted upon it forgot the noise of the waking world. In its gentle tide, they found peace. Hypnos dwelled in a cavern at the river's edge, his bed woven from twilight clouds, his breath slow as a mountain breeze. Around him, poppies bloomed in silence, their petals glowing faintly. Each flower held a single dream, waiting to be born. When he exhaled, they opened, and visions spilled into the minds of the sleeping. Sometimes the dreams were gentle, a mother holding her child, a memory of home, a song carried on the wind. Other times they were strange and wild, shapes of thought too large for waking minds to hold. Yet Hypnos never judged. All dreams were sacred to him. "They are the soul's way of breathing," he would say. "Even the nightmares." Nyx often came to visit her son. When she arrived, the river stilled, and the poppies turned their faces toward her shadow. "You have built well," she told him once, her voice a whisper that stirred the stars. "Your realm carries the weight of mercy." "Yet they fear it," Hypnos said. "They fear what they see in the dark. Because dreams tell them truths they hide from the sun," Nyx replied. "And truth, my child, is never gentle. But without it, no heart can heal." She brushed her hand across the surface of the river, and 1,000 dreams shimmered in answer. Laughter, tears, hopes, and goodbyes all mingling in the light. "You see," she said softly, "even fear has a purpose. It reminds them that they are still alive." As they spoke, Thanatos appeared on the far shore, his steps soundless. He carried no weapon, no scythe, only stillness. Hypnos bowed, for though they were twins, his brother's presence was always solemn. "You walk among my dreams tonight," Hypnos said. "Does sleep no longer hold enough peace for you?" Thanatos looked at the river, his reflection unreadable. "Many wander too far," he said. "Some forget to wake." Nyx nodded. "Then guide them gently. Let death be no cruelty, but a return to my embrace." For though her children ruled different realms, one of slumber, one of silence, they served the same truth, that all things must rest. Life without pause is madness, and even stars must sleep. Far above, the constellations turned slowly, as if listening to their words. Each star a watcher, each dream a promise. The night itself seemed to hum with their harmony. As the eons passed, Hypnos' realm became vast beyond measure. He learned to weave dreams not only for mortals, but for gods. Zeus himself once drifted into his current, dreaming of a world where thunder was gentle and kings were kind. When he awoke, he wept, though he could not remember why. And from those tears, a storm was born. Nyx watched from afar, her eyes deep with knowing. Even the mighty need to dream, she whispered, else they forget what mercy feels like. She turned back toward the edge of her domain, where night touched dawn. Dreams are my gift, she murmured. They remind the universe that even eternity must rest. And as her voice faded into the soft hum of the cosmos, the river of dreams flowed on, endless, shining, and serene. As ages passed and the stars grew old, the peace of night began to tremble. From the edge of her domain, Nyx felt a shift, a pulse of unrest spreading through the dreams of gods and mortals alike. It began as a whisper, a ripple in the calm waters of the soul. Something ancient had awakened. Phobos and Deimos, her grandsons, the spirits of fear and dread. They were born not of hatred, but of warning, the mind's way of keeping the heart alive. Yet as the world grew louder, as the fires of men burned brighter, their whispers grew into storms. Phobos moved like smoke, curling through the thoughts of soldiers before battle. His voice was soft but sharp, reminding them of death, of pain, of all that could be lost. Deimos followed behind him, a shadow within a shadow, feeding on echoes of terror. Together they traveled through dream and waking alike, twin reflections of humanity's unease. Hypnos could not contain them. His dreams began to twist into nightmares, and mortals awoke trembling, drenched in cold sweat. "Mother," he called. The balance falters. Fear has grown too strong. From the void, Nyx emerged, vast and silent. Her presence dimmed even the stars. "Fear cannot be destroyed," she said, her voice echoing like wind over a frozen sea. "It can only be understood." She found Phobos and Deimos among the restless dreams of kings. They crouched like children at her feet, their eyes wide with the terror they carried. "Why do you hide from me?" she asked. "Because we shame you," said Phobos. "We are the parts of night that bring pain." Nyx knelt before them, her shadow wrapping them like a cloak. "No," she said, "you are the proof that courage exists. Without you, light would mean nothing." Her words fell like stars across the darkness, and for a moment, the twins were still. The storms within their eyes softened. But balance is fragile, and even understanding could not still the fear of mortals for long. As humankind learned to build cities, to shape metal and fire, their dreams grew restless again. Fear evolved, it learned to wear new faces. It whispered not of monsters or gods, but of loss, of loneliness, of failure. Phobos and Deimos, born of divine terror, now fed upon mortal doubt. Nyx watched this transformation in silence. "So even they dream," she murmured, "and their dreams, too, are dark." Hypnos came to her once more, weary and dim. "Even I cannot give them peace. Their hearts race too quickly. Their minds burn even in sleep." "Then they must learn to rest in fear," Nyx said, "to see it not as an enemy, but as a teacher. For in darkness, even dread can show the way." She spread her wings, and the sky rippled with shadow. From her feathers, new stars fell, each one a small light of understanding, a hope hidden in fear. They landed softly upon the earth, and where they touched, mortals began to dream of bravery. One child dreamed of standing alone before a storm, unafraid. Another dreamed of forgiving an enemy. A mother dreamed of loss, and of love that endured beyond it. These were the new gifts of Nyx, not safety, but strength. The gods watched in silence. Even Zeus, high upon Olympus, looked down and felt something stir within his heart. Not power, but humility. For in the eyes of fear all were equal. And as the night deepened once more, Nyx looked upon her realm with calm. The stars pulsed gently, each a reminder that courage and terror share the same root, the will to feel. "Let them dream," she whispered. "Let them tremble. For only those who face the dark will ever find the dawn." And so the night remained, deep, infinite, alive, carrying both peace and fear within its endless embrace. There came a time when even the gods began to forget where dreams ended and reality began. The mortals had built cities so bright that the stars could no longer see them. They worked by firelight and prayed to the sun. Yet in their hearts, they longed for night. For the night was stillness, and stillness was truth. Nyx watched from the horizon of creation. The veil between her realm and the waking world had thinned. Dreams leaked into day, fears wandered into thought, and through that veil, unseen by most, her children moved gently, keeping the balance unseen. Hypnos floated between worlds, his wings brushing both sides of the veil. His breath cooled fevered minds, his touch stilled chaos. But the noise of mankind grew louder, their hearts restless, their thoughts unending. Sleep became shallow. Dreams became brief. Nyx whispered to him, "The veil frays because they have forgotten silence. They fill every corner with light," Hypnos replied. "They no longer leave room for shadow." Nyx's gaze softened. "Then we must teach them once more." She turned to her other child, Morpheus, the shaper of dreams. His form shimmered like smoke and silver, a being who could wear the faces of gods and men alike. "You shall walk among them," she said. "Remind them of the border they once knew, where dream and day still touch." Morpheus bowed. "And if they no longer believe in dreams? Then you must make them remember," she said, "through wonder or through longing. For even disbelief is a kind of prayer." And so Morpheus descended. He moved unseen through the sleeping minds of kings and poets, warriors and children. He painted visions in color and sound, some gentle, some terrible, each carrying the whisper of his mother's realm. He gave mortals stories that would outlive memory, tales of gods, of stars, of love that defied the dark. Many awoke weeping, others laughing, but none forgot. And so the myth of dreams endured. Yet not all who wandered the veil were gentle. Some mortals sought to cross it entirely, to pierce the mystery and claim its power. They called upon shadows they did not understand, and the veil trembled. One night, a mortal priest lit 1,000 lamps, praying to banish night forever. The sky grew pale, but his city fell silent. No laughter, no rest, no dream. The people began to wither, hollow-eyed, afraid of the very light they had begged for. Nyx looked upon them, sorrow in her gaze. "They have slain their own peace," she murmured. "Light without darkness blinds." She spread her wings once more, and for the first time in centuries, true night fell upon the city. The lamps flickered out, the air cooled, and as the darkness settled, the people slept, deeply, completely, gratefully. When they awoke, dawn came softer than before, and the morning sun felt like mercy instead of command. They built new temples, not to light or dark, but to balance. The veil healed. From that night onward, dreams flowed freely again. Hypnos hummed beneath the stars, Morpheus painted in sleep, and Nyx stood between both realms, her shadow a bridge of calm between chaos and creation. She looked upon the horizon and smiled. "They remember now," she whispered. "The world cannot live in brightness alone. It needs the hush between the heartbeats, the space where thought becomes dream." And as she spoke, the veil shimmered, neither seen nor unseen, the quiet promise that every ending would one day rest in night. Time drifted as softly as sleep. The world changed. Empires rose and fell, stars burned and dimmed, yet the night endured. For as long as there were hearts to dream, Nyx's shadow would remain. At the edge of creation, the goddess stood beneath her endless sky. Her children had grown, their realms vast and alive. Hypnos carried peace through the weary, Thanatos guided souls home, and Morpheus painted stories that shaped entire ages. Even Phobos and Deimos had found their place, their whispers now gentler, guardians rather than tormentors. Nyx watched them and smiled, the faintest curve of light in the dark. "So this is eternity," she murmured. "Not silence, but harmony." Above her, the stars pulsed in rhythm. Her heartbeat echoed across the cosmos. She no longer walked alone. Her presence was in every shadow, every quiet moment between breaths. She had become the night itself. Mortals still feared her sometimes. They whispered her name when thunder rolled or dreams turned strange. But they also lit candles at twilight, not to banish her, but to greet her, small flames shining like prayers. Children fell asleep beneath her sky, whispering to the stars, not knowing they were her eyes. One night, Hypnos came to her once more, his wings silver with age. "Mother," he said softly, "do you tire of watching them?" Nyx looked down upon the sleeping world, the soft rise and fall of its breathing. "No," she said, "because every dream reminds me that they still listen." "They forget you in the day," Hypnos said. "They wake and speak of reason and progress. They no longer pray to the night." Nyx's smile deepened. "They do not need to. I am not a god to be worshipped. I am the silence that lets them think, the stillness that lets them love. Even when they forget me, they live within me." The wind stirred, carrying her words across the stars. Somewhere, a child stirred in sleep, comforted without knowing why.